If the legislature cannot delegate its power to a legislative committee, it also cannot delegate its core legislative power to administrative agencies. Doesn't your argument jeopardize the entire administrative state in the state of Wisconsin?
I don't think so, Your Honor, and the reason why is I'd point you to the SEIU decision in paragraphs 130 and 131. And there, Justice Kelly was explaining why when the executive agencies act, they are primarily exercising executive authority. And so when the legislature enacts a statute like Knowles-Nelson, it is not in any sense delegating legislative power to the executive branch to act. I mean, this is classic separation of powers theory. The legislature creates the law, sets out statutory criteria that the executive branch shall use when implementing the law. It might appropriate money, but once it does so, it's done. It is not when the executive then implements that law, it's carrying out executive power. That is not a delegated legislative power when the executive acts. To be sure, the executive does need an authorizing statute to act, but when it then implements the statute, as DNR does here in the Knowles-Nelson context, that is executive power. That is not legislative power.
You can't have a wooden, hermetically sealed separation of powers that only benefits one branch. If the court, and it has since the 1920s, the beginning of the administrative state, has blessed the legislature giving over some of its legislative power to the executive branch in view of the realities of modern governance, you then can't take away the practical tools that the legislative branch needs to really interact with this kind of...
Are these tools really practical? Are they required to articulate a reason, any reasoning, or are they required to issue a decision when they exercise their veto power?
No.
Is it appealable or reviewable?
No.
So I don't understand what processes, what procedures, what policy determinations the Joint Committee on Finance needs to make in order to veto a proposal. I mean, there doesn't seem to me to be any limits whatsoever. There are zero guardrails here.
Well, Your Honor, there's no, I think, gainsaying that this is exactly how legislative review committee provisions or boards have worked for the last century. And with regard to the practicalities of how the GFC...
Well, maybe they've been wrong for the last century, and we shouldn't, double down on how wrong this is.